was thinking there's someone signed in as Miami Spirit, the sign-in name, and it got me thinking about identity, how our identities form, how we think of ourselves, what aspects of our environment we kind of pick up and attach to ourselves and say, this is who I am. And I mean, I think in terms of myself, I'm a Hermosa Beach guy. Now, I've lived here for 40 years, you know, and with a brief foray into Redondo Beach. But I never felt like a Redondo Beach guy, even when I was living in Redondo Beach. I was still a Hermosa Beach guy, even though we're talking about 3 miles away, 4 miles away. And it's a continuous, geographically continuous place. But there is this quality of identity with the place, and that we attach to ourselves. So I'm a Hermosa Beach guy, and I am identified with various experiences that I've had that are significant. So say I am a recovering alcoholic. I am a father. I am a husband. I am these things. And the feeling is that this is what I am. In the sense that my sense of self-identity, as distinguished from you, is associated with these kinds of distinctions. And then this also allows us to potentially share common qualities, that we are Americans, so we share this place, we share this culture, we are Advaitans, we share this, philosophical background, this culture of Indian gurus and mystical teachings and those kinds of things. So these are things that we share, and if we share enough of them, and we become a group or a tribe around these things, around these shared conditions. And so we then become identified with this group. We are this group. And it seems to be a human condition. I wander around, I talk to people, I observe what people say and how they relate to themselves and to others. And I see that these kinds of identifications are very strong. People who were born and raised in Boston, so they had this event in Boston last week. People they've been living here for 30 years, 35 years, but this root, this experience, this growing up experience, this connection to this place is very much tied up with their identity. And they say, well, I'm from Boston. I feel this assault on my place, very powerfully. And, I can see that they're feeling it more powerfully than people who haven't lived there. In the same way that we, see pictures and have news reports of, people in Syria being bombed, and because they are them, and they're of a different ethnicity, they're of a different culture, they're of a different country. They're in a geographically very different place from us, one which we've probably never visited, know very little about. The connection to that experience is substantially reduced in terms of our identification with those people. And I mean, I'm saying all this just because I find it fascinating. I find how we are fascinating. I find the fact that this is what is fascinating. And there's no sense in any of this that it should be different, that we should be, recognize the commonality of all, or whatever the story is of how things should be, how we. I'm simply interested in this regard, in how things are, in looking around. And it's fascinating how things are. Wherever you look, you can delve into things. And as soon as you scratch the surface of anything and begin to go more deeply into it, the possibility of complexity, of interest, of fascination, of seeing how things are, is potentially great. So in terms of the living teaching is about waking up to what's here, waking up to what is, to simply recognizing. And for that to happen, this veneer of that forms, it's kind of like a skin on the chocolate pudding. It just kind of forms there, and it is kind of resistant to being penetrated. The surface of things kind of gets hard. They're familiar, and as they become familiar, they start to lose their interest, lose their vitality. They simply become background. And so to reawaken, to penetrate through this thin veneer of the quote ordinary is part of what this living teaching does. It potentially reawakens you to the extraordinary that is omnipresent. Because the world's amazing. What's here is truly extraordinary. Extraordinary. And with that seeing comes a reemergence of vitality, a connection to the very basic pulse of life that is beating in everything. But it's not perceived through that skin of the ordinary. That deadens, has a tendency to deaden things. And it's a perfectly natural phenomenon. It isn't because you're too lame or stupid to see, all the cool stuff that's right here in front of you. It's not, and it's not the suggestion. It is very much a human quality. And so, if you're fortunate enough to encounter this something that reawakens your interest, that piques you, that helps you penetrate through the veneer of ordinary, then I think you're quite fortunate. I think we're all quite fortunate to have that.
I like that. It made me think, the thing that makes anything good is not a thing at all. It's good because I'm experiencing it. It's good because it's the experience of being good. It's in the delight of having contact with that, or having an experience of experiencing this thing. And it's like that for anything. Like, you like chocolate, I don't like chocolate. I like vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not because it's vanilla or chocolate, really. But it is.
It is and it isn't.
Yeah. I guess it's not the thing, but it's the experience of the thing, which fundamentally is the same thing as far as I know, because I have no knowledge of the thing, so I've experienced it.
Well, that's sort of where the mystics and the physicists have come together. In the physicists have come through experimentally to have gotten to the point of saying what something is determined by what is perceiving it.
Right.
And which is what you're saying, that what your experience of something really defines it. Makes it what it is.
Mm. Yeah, so many things get taken for granted.
Yeah, so many things taken. Yeah.
And then if you look at them, then it's the same. It's the same thing, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Now, the evolutionary biologists suggest that the human organism has evolved to do this for very good reasons. And that, sort of an example would be if you live in a jungle. If you have the capacity to basically filter out the ordinary, that which is repetitive, that which is by its nature common to the environment. What then stands out in stark contrast is the extraordinary, that which is different, that which is changed. So in, let's say, a jungle setting, if you live in an environment and then you begin to notice things that are, quote, out of place, which when trees and bushes move in a way that's not normal, will suggest the presence of a intruder or of something that maybe you can eat. Your organism begins to pick up these cues, very subtle cues, about what is there that is not, quote, normal, that is not ordinary. And so the ability to pick those things out means that you get to eat, and that you probably have a better chance of surviving, an attack, because you can sense these things. If you have to process your environment, if everything is equally weighted, that it's all new, it's all fresh, it's all vibrant, it's all like amazing. Every leaf and vine and is fresh every moment. Then
Your food.
Your food, yes, exactly. Now, I'm not a particularly big fan of attributing singular causes to things. Saying, the reason we are this way is because of these environmental, these evolutionary influences, and that explains how we are. That's a very simplistic approach to things, but I find it a interesting and sensible explanation for an influence that would contribute to how we are.
It's also amazing that sometimes we seem to be able to see those influences.
Sometimes. I mean, we see them by simplifying. What I mean is that the universe is totally connected. Everything is connected to everything else. That's ultimately everything causes everything else. There's no singular cause for anything, because if this causes that, something is causing it, and which is causing it, which is causing it, which is causing it, and so we simplify this whole complex net of causation in a linear form, and we connect the dots, so to speak, and say this causes this, causes this, causes this, and that's a simplified string. And this enables us to see that. Our minds, drawing those dots, makes us see that. David asks, could we also say there is no it apart from our experience? There is only our experience. Of course, we can certainly say that. But when we say that, it's a pointer to something. I mean, when we talk about the manifest world, we talk about an experience and something experienced. That is the nature of the dualistic construct. And it is the nature of experience that there is a me and the thing experienced. That's now what these teachings of non-dualism are pointing to is that the experience and the thing experienced are part of a wholeness, part of a unity.